Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a year since I've uploaded to this channel, but we're just gonna sweep that under the rug, cause Nintendo did what Nintendo does, and they surprise dropped a demo for Hyrule Warriors today, and I kinda wanna talk about it. So let's just get right into that. Alright? Cool. Okay, so I wanna make it perfectly clear from the get-go that I'm going to be going over everything that's available in the demo, which seems to be the entire first chapter. So if you want to go into this experience totally blind, there's your warning to turn back now. Though if I am being honest, there really isn't a whole lot to spoil from this demo. If you've been keeping up with any of the promotional material up to this point, you kinda already know what you're getting into. But yes, like I said, light story spoilers inbound, probably from the first hour and a half of the game. If you don't want any of that spoiled, go play the demo right now. I'm pretty sure your progress will carry over into the full game, which is, that's pretty convenient. You can even come back afterwards. I promise you, this video is more than likely not going anywhere. So, we'll be here. Go on. Get. Are they gone? Okay. I think they're gone. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a game that interests me quite a bit, mostly because Breath of the Wild continues to be one of my favorite games on the Switch, and that game came out all the way back in 2017. And while Breath of the Wild was one of my favorite games on the console, it wasn't perfect. Far from it. It was very, very light in the story department, even for Zelda standards. And some of the combat decisions made in Breath of the Wild kinda left me scratching my head. Like the weapons durability, and the combat kind of got stale after a while. Wasn't a whole lot to experiment with. Hyrule Warriors, however, seems to be taking things in a totally different direction, in more ways than one even. Surely you can see just how radically different the gameplay is that's on screen right now. However, the gameplay isn't what interests me the most here. What interests me the most is the presentation of the story. And if this demo is anything to go off of, I am really going to enjoy this game quite a bit. There's just something about the cutscenes that were shown in the few missions that this demo had that really had me smiling the whole way through. Now, seeing as this is a demo, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about plot-wise, like I said earlier. But the premise is extremely solid. This game takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild, where in the beginning of that game, Link wakes up in the Shrine of Resurrection after being defeated in a battle that we were told a little bit about, but ultimately did not get to see. This game, however, is like the Halo Reach of Zelda. We know how it's gonna end. Everyone is gonna have a really bad time by the end of the story, and oh man, I am so into that. I'm not sure how far they're gonna go with this seemingly grim story, but man, I am ready to be hurt! I really hope Nintendo doesn't pull their punches too hard here, because the setup is so cool. Beyond that, the characters in each cutscene are just so fun to behold. The voice acting isn't revolutionary, but I do think it's marginally better than Breath of the Wild, which admittedly isn't a very high bar to set. After all that plot stuff, we've got the bread and butter of just about any game. The game. Like the gameplay. Since this is a Warriors game, you're gonna be spending most of your time absolutely obliterating hundreds of enemies at a time. It's a pretty fun power fantasy. Funnily enough though, even though you're mowing down about 400,000 enemies per swing with your weapon in this game, I feel like the combat system might be a bit more interesting than Breath of the Wild's. At least after, playing it for an hour. Who knows what I'll think after I really dig into the game. There are currently 3 playable characters you can use in the demo: Link, Zelda, and Impa. They each have their own combos, which are no more complicated than pressing Y, 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 X, or holding X at the end of a Y input to modify the combo, and so on and so forth. Each of these characters play differently enough and have their own unique weapons to remain interesting. My preferred character to play right now is Link, because he's the most unga-bunga, I'm gonna wreck face character out of all of them so far. Outside of the standard story missions, you're taken to a world map that has quests, which are essentially delivery quests, where you spend your materials to either unlock new shops, recipes to cook stat-boosting foods, or even unlock extra hearts and extra combos for specific characters. Besides that, there are additional challenges available on the map, which will act as side missions to give you more materials, which you can use to upgrade your equipment, or to do those delivery quests we just talked about. If you decide you want to upgrade your equipment, you'll have to go to the blacksmith on the map. And at said blacksmith, you choose to combine weapons that you've amassed to your story missions and your side missions and the like, to get new passive abilities on them, as well as a flat damage boost, of course. All in all, it seems like this game's got the potential to have an absolute shitload of content to do outside of the main story, if that's your cup of tea. I know I'm all about that, so let's go. And that's all there really is to talk about so far. My only real complaint with the demo is that the frame rate is really chunky a lot of the time. I ended up getting used to it after my hour of play, but man, it was really noticeable when I first started playing. Unfortunately, I doubt that's something that's gonna be fixed at or post-launch, so if you're particularly sensitive to frame rate dips, I'd say maybe download the demo and give it a try to see if that's too much for you. But yeah, I really enjoyed what I saw, and I'm definitely gonna be looking forward to picking up this game ASAP. What did you guys think of the demo? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And with all that said, congratulations! You've made it to the end of this video! I hope you really enjoyed my mindless rambling about this game that's not out yet. If you did, be sure to hit subscribe so you'll be notified when I upload my 1 video per year. And if you really liked it, be sure to hit my socials down below. I got them in the description. I'd really appreciate it. I'm way more active everywhere else other than here, so, you know. Other than that, here's your standard bullshit of like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and I will try my best to not disappear for a year. Let's see what happens. Later!